What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about how to learn web development the right way, okay? And I wanted to make this because I myself made a ton of mistakes when I first learned how to do this stuff. And I know a number of other people that have spent literally years like learning web development without actually like building any real projects by themselves or like making money with it or anything. And with as much as a pain in the butt this stuff is to learn, like it's not easy. You need to like actually make money or get something from your skills. You can't just be learning forever. Like that's literally a giant waste of your time. Like literally. And I know people again that have wasted like years still saying that they're learning and doing absolutely nothing. So I don't want any of you to go through that. So I just thought I would make this little video on what to do. This is basically, a lot of people always say this. This is the information I would have loved to have when I started this. I wish somebody would have like told me this, or there was a video like this. So we're just gonna get in here to have a little presentation. The first thing that I'm gonna tell you guys, and I think my last video touched on this, but this is the biggest thing. There is so much to learn in web development and coding and a million different ways you can go, but you cannot learn everything. Like you just can't. There's too much to learn. The first thing you need to do is pick a path and specialize in it from day one. Okay, so um, I, no matter what, as a web developer, you're gonna have to learn HTML. So right here, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then really after that, it's up to you. After you get those basics down, you need to like already know ahead of time what you want to do and learn the skills that are going to point you towards that path. You need to be a specialist, okay? Don't try to be Mr. Everything developer, at least not when you're new, because it's just not going to be possible, okay? So, like I recommended in that other video, I think it's the last video I published. I'll link it in the description. I highly, highly recommend that people come in, you learn your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then you learn a front end framework, and I recommend Bootstrap, okay? And then from there, and what Bootstrap will do is it just makes developing with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript fast, okay? Because it has a lot of pre-written code for you, pre-written CSS classes that you can quickly plug in and do things really quickly, so that'll just save you a ton of time. But you need to understand HTML, CSS, and JavaScript first before you can use a framework like Bootstrap. Nothing will make sense to you. After that, learn PHP and MySQL. So PHP is the backend language that allows you to communicate with a database like MySQL. And once you learn PHP, you'll be a full stack developer. You'll be able to make full stack applications and build websites that actually store data and are dynamic. So you'll be able to build web apps, okay? And that's what everybody like the big buzzword still today is full stack developer. The easiest way to do that, learn PHP. PHP was literally built for the web, and all of these other new JavaScript, Node, and all these other BS frameworks that allow you to do backend they're a lot harder to learn and use than PHP. PHP out of the box was made for the web. All you literally have to do on a PHP page is make some PHP tags at the top and bottom of your page, and then you can write your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in there built in. You're already ready to go, and then there's already built-in ways that you can communicate with databases through PHP. It was made for the web, guys. Just trust me. Learn PHP, okay? Save yourself the headache. Do not go for Node or any of these other frameworks. 80% of the web today, I think, runs on PHP, and it's not changing, okay? Don't fall for the hype. Learn PHP. Once you have all those skills, I recommend that you learn WordPress, okay? WordPress powers about half of the web nowadays, and again, it's built on PHP. See how that works? So once you learn WordPress and how to build custom themes in WordPress, you can then pick up a ton of work because there's a million small businesses and business owners, even some larger companies like I think Coca-Cola and other other big companies have their websites on WordPress, but that just opens up the door for you to start freelancing and do, real project work for big money. Like there's like local businesses, like law firms, certain industries that if you get into working with, you can charge them $5,000 to $10,000 per website just using WordPress. Once you learn WordPress, like you'll be amazed because it's super easy. They'll pay you big money for that stuff. So you don't have to go this route. I recommend that you do, but regardless of what you do some research before you get into this and know what kind of stuff you'll want to be working on. If you want to be freelancing and a full stack web developer and be able to work on your own, this is the stack. Learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, some Bootstrap, PHP, SQL, and WordPress. You can get all of this done in less than a year and be proficient. And you don't have to be a master at anything, guys. Just learn it, know the basics, and then from there, figure problems out as they come up, okay? Don't spend years and years trying to be master. And that'll get in, there's another slide here, which is don't try to memorize syntax. And the syntax is like, ooh, how do I write out like an H1 tag, or how do I write this complicated thing in JavaScript that I only have to do once or twice in my life? That's the syntax, is actually writing the tags out and typing stuff. You're going to forget. There's so much syntax and so many things to learn that you're going to like forget how to do simple things all the time. Don't try to memorize the syntax and get obsessed with it like a lot of newbies do, or that a lot of people will go on like Codecademy and all these other platforms that have built-in text editors that basically just teach you syntax and don't really teach you actual concepts or development. And people get so hyper-focused on trying to memorize how to do syntax just from their brains. That'll come naturally with time. Don't worry about that. Just know the concepts. Know that like when you learn JavaScript, know that you have to select an HTML element with JavaScript in order to work with it. And as long as you at least remember that is a concept, you can look up the syntax on how to do it. Like just stuff like that. Don't get obsessed with writing out, trying to memorize syntax. It's a waste of time. It'll happen naturally. Okay. Just let it happen naturally. Just know the concepts of how things work. Next one, huge for me, how I learn stuff, and it's not just with coding. This is with me learning any task, anything new in life. I have to like physically take notes, like step-by-step notes on how to do stuff. And then I usually end up going back to my notes, and within, a couple days, 2 or 3 days of doing a task, or, however many times, I have it memorized. But it's important for me to take notes. If you are one of these people, take notes while you code. If you're learning how to do something complicated in CSS or JavaScript or whatever, take step-by-step notes on how to do that and then save them somewhere. Use Google Docs. I use Google Docs a lot to take a lot of notes, and then I can access them anywhere on my phone or anywhere whenever I need to know to do something. But take notes, and you can also take notes in your text editor, okay? So I just wanted to show you I just want to show you a quick example of that. So you guys know in a past video I showed you the first project that I did by myself, this Airbnb clone. This is my first ever like solo project that I actually built without like looking at a tutorial. And I ran into issues doing this. The biggest issue I had was getting all of this stuff looking like this with CSS grid. This is complicated and I didn't know how to do it. And I'll be honest with you guys, if I had to do this right now off the top of my head, I wouldn't remember the code. I'd have to go relearn it. We'll get into another slide of that. You're going to be learning and relearning stuff all the time because you're just going to forget. But when I was building that part out, I literally had to make a new file, like a sandbox practice file outside of the main project. And I had to watch some videos and study on how to do that. And then I took like step-by-step like little notes in the actual text editor and then built a little demo of it. And that's what really helped me build this complicated design area. But yeah, don't forget that you can take notes also, like I said, in your text editor. A lot of times when I learn new skills, I go through like the lessons or whatever and I take notes, and then after like I'll have my notes section, and then on the bottom I'll have like the actual code that makes stuff. going off my notes. So take notes. I recommend everybody takes notes, but that's specifically how I learn. But don't be afraid to take notes, step-by-step notes, anything that you have to do to learn something, okay? Next one. Try reading books. Books aren't for everyone, but I know for me they helped, especially when I was learning JavaScript and PHP. And the books that I have here these ones are by John Duckett, and these are really popular books in the web development space by this guy John Duckett. There's HTML, JavaScript, and jQuery, and PHP and MySQL was just released a year or two ago. But and I actually have all of them here on my desk. So here's one of them, HTML and CSS, and I've got PHP and JavaScript over here. I'll link these in the description of the video. Try books. Sometimes, like, I know video tutorials are really helpful, but certain things it's better to, if you just learn them by looking at pictures and reading to really understand the concept, and that helped me out a lot, especially with JavaScript and PHP. These books, these John Duckett books, in my opinion and many other people's opinions, these are the best web development books ever written. If you read all of these 3 books and do the assignments in them, each section, each couple of pages, they have example code that you can go in and pretty much code along with it, kind of like it's a tutorial, but it's a book. It's like a video tutorial. And you'll learn a lot just by repetition. You'll learn new concepts by doing that. And at the end of each book, there is projects too that you can do. Okay. Highly recommend these. Give them a try, dude. They have beautiful illustrations in the book. It's really picture based with a little bit of text. It's not like a really big, boring college book, but try books. And there's other books out there on web development if you want to try them, but I recommend these 3 books. Okay. And I think you can get them all in a set now. These are like must haves for learning web developers, in my opinion. Next thing, code a little bit every day. Okay, you don't have to be like coding for hours and hours every day. In fact, I don't recommend that because it'll just be burnout. You'll burn out on that for sure. 30 minutes a day is fine, or multiple, like 2 or 3 blocks of 20 to 30 minute sessions a day. Especially if you're taking like a course or a tutorial, just do a couple videos here, a couple videos there. Just make coding a habit, and that's where the learning will really start to sink into your brain. It's like anything else. If you do something every day, it's going to become like second nature to you, and it's no different when you're trying to learn web development. So just code a little bit every day. Don't think that you have to come sit down at your desk for 8 hours a day and code, because it's just, at a certain point, you're going to get diminishing returns because you're just going to be mentally so tired that you're not going to retain any information. So don't try to rush the process. What do they say? Trust the process, don't rush the process, and it's the same for coding. Kind of touched on this already, but you're going to be learning and relearning skills a lot, but just do this on a need-to-know basis after you get the basics of everything down. Don't try to memorize everything. You're going to forget. You're going to learn so much stuff that you're going to forget old stuff that you learned a month ago all the time. That's okay. As long as you memorize the concepts and know what has to be done, you can use the internet to go to Stack Overflow or wherever else you want to go, W3 Schools, to look up how to do something with syntax and how to actually write it out. But don't be afraid of that. Like, just learn and learn stuff as you go based on the project you're trying to build. Okay? And again, don't feel bad for forgetting stuff or not knowing everything. Every project that you do, at least for the first 2 or 3 years, you're going to constantly be relearning stuff. Now, if you specialize from day one, like I say, and learn what I tell you to and get good at WordPress, everything's going to become second nature at some point, and you're not going to be constantly relearning and learning stuff. You're just going to be able to hammer out projects. And if you're freelancing, that can mean that you're getting stuff out fast and you're making a ton of money. Like I said, imagine being able to charge like $5,000 a website, and you're so efficient at WordPress and PHP and all that you can bang out like 10 projects a month. Do the math, okay? But don't be afraid to learn and relearn things. You're going to forget stuff. It's just part of the deal, okay? Don't let that discourage you. that discourages a lot of people because they feel like they're stupid and then they quit, and that's a big mistake. This is probably the most important thing next to picking a path. Build real projects as soon as possible. Put the tutorials down. Open up a text editor to a blank file. Make a blank indexed HTML file. Make your style sheet and your JavaScript. And pick a design on the internet, a website that you want to clone. Use websites like frontendmentor.io. I have a ton of tutorials that I do on there. There's all these, and that, dude, Front End Mentor and all those websites that give you designs and let you like practice building stuff with design files, that didn't even exist when I learned how. Those are a godsend, man. And now that those are available, use them, okay? What I used to do is, like I did with the Airbnb clone, I would just pick popular websites and clone them on my own and kind of just guess the colors and stuff like that and do the best I could, and that's how I learned. But now there's, you have even more resources, but there's no excuse to just be doing tutorials all day, every day, especially nowadays with all those resources. At some point, take the training wheels off, pick a website and build it and clone it, okay? Simple as that. That's the best way you're going to learn. You'll learn more from building one little project than you will from a year straight of tutorials, okay? I think this is the last one I have, and a good tip that I have is in your house or somewhere, maybe it's the library, just have a dedicated work area. So the background picture of this here is my work area now. I have my old beat up desk that I still use to this day because I'm cheap. I need to get a new desk. But this is literally the area that I'm recording this from, guys. I have a couple large, I think they're like 21, 24-inch monitors here. I have my MacBook. I have my little keyboard, my little mechanical keyboard that you hear me click-clacking on in my videos, and my mouse. And then, I have my books here, some speakers. But I have like my own. Luckily I was able to build an addition onto my house to make it just my little office area so I can get away. I have little young kids and everything. So when I need to hammer out videos or learn something, I can come to my own little office area. I have multiple screens, and that's a huge bonus, guys. If you're going to be doing web development seriously, if you can save up some money and buy yourself a setup like this to where you can have multiple screens, it's a game changer. When you have 2 or 3 screens that you can display stuff on, it's amazing. It makes your work working so much easier. When I first started, I couldn't afford this. I just had my little laptop screen, but this is a godsend. So yeah, I highly recommend get your own area. If you guys want to know the stuff that I use, I'll make a video on that. Let me know. But yeah, really get your own little study area. It'll make your life a lot easier. Get a comfortable chair, get a desk if you can. If you can't afford all that, at least get yourself a decent laptop. Get yourself I have a MacBook Pro, but you can get a MacBook Air for like $1,100 that is super powerful with their new chipset. And they're really good for web development right out of the box because Mac runs on a Unix system. And if you don't know what all that means, in plain English, it means that you won't have to download a bunch of other random stuff like you do on a Windows computer to get coding languages to work. Everything is out of the box on Macs, so you'll be up and running in like less than 30 minutes with all the stuff, getting Git set up, get it running PHP on the machine. Everything is just super easy with Mac. It was made for developers, so if you can afford a Mac, and they last for like 10 years or more, man, they last forever. So if you can get yourself a decent laptop, I would recommend get a MacBook Pro. You can even get used ones on eBay for a lot less money. I recommend getting a Mac. And that's pretty much it for the presentation here. That's going to be our last slide. So hopefully you got some value out of that. Go back and rewatch it if you have to. I'm going to link everything that I talked about in the description, the books and everything like that. But yeah, guys, I do want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.